Quite simply, David just pretended to be a college professor, writing letters and making phone calls to places like the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, the NRC, the American Nuclear Society, the Edison Electric Institute, and the Atomic Industrial Forum. And then nobody decided to double-check David's made-up identity. Over the phone, a rep from the Nuclear Regulatory Commission ended up basically walking David through the entire process of obtaining and isolating radioactive isotopes. Normally, no one person would be able to legally obtain a large enough amount of the radioactive materials needed to pose any sort of danger. But this isn't a normal situation. This is David freaking Hahn. He was an Eagle Scout. David later said, "The NRC gave me all the information I needed. All I had to do was go out and get the materials." And he did. From his conversations with government officials and by looking over old Boy Scout booklets, David learned that you could find small amounts of radioactive elements in smoke detectors, old luminous clocks painted with a radioactive paint that made the numbers on the clock glow, and old camping lanterns. Just one of each of these items wouldn't cut it. David would need a large amount, more than any normal person would ever purchase to get what he needed. So, David just kept on pretending to be a professor and began his journey of procuring radioactive elements from these everyday items until he found something that succeeded in creating fission. First, he called up a smoke detector company and said he needed 100 smoke detectors for a, quote, school project. Not only did they agree to ship him 100 smoke detectors for a low price, they told him exactly where the radioactive material was located in the device, without ever getting confirmation of his identity or intentions. David received the smoke detectors, immediately obtained the radioactive material from all of them, which was americium-241 by the way, welded it all together, and placed it inside of a lead casing with a small hole punctured in it, creating what is known as a neutron gun, the first step to achieving fission. Still, no adults have stepped in to stop this. From there, keeping in line with David's obsessively focused work ethic, and keeping in line with the theme of no adults asking any questions or sounding any alarms whatsoever, David was able to extract thorium from thousands of old camping lanterns, and get his hands on radium from old luminescent clocks which he purchased from an antique store. All that along with some uranium he had ordered from Czechoslovakia over the phone, because why the hell wouldn't that be possible, and some barium sulfate from the nurses at the local hospital's radiology ward, who just sort of gave it to him. David made a makeshift reactor core out of the highly radioactive radium and americium he had gotten from the smoke detectors and clocks. Then he surrounded this radioactive ball with a blanket composed of tiny foil-wrapped cubes of thorium ash, which he got from the old camping lanterns, and uranium powder, which were stacked in an alternating pattern with carbon cubes and tenuously held together with duct tape. Now he had a fully functional and unspeakably dangerous nuclear reactor in his mom's backyard, and no one had any